More often, we're pressured to create plans, rules, and follow schedules, but I was in a point in time where that was really putting a burden on me. And I know there are a lot of hobbyists out there that experience the same thing, and this video is for you. It started with one day where I wasn't able to paint, followed by another day where I couldn't paint again, and on the third day I felt so bad for not being able to paint. It was a lot harder to pick up that paintbrush, no matter how well I set up my hobby. Often causes would just be I'm just downright tired from having a 9-to-5 work, or finding more enjoyment in other things, which is completely fine. But throughout that long process of slowly falling out of my hobbying every day, I sort of felt a little out of love with the hobby, which was very heartbreaking because I love painting miniatures, and I found that that hobby progress, or that hobby habit that I once had of painting every day, was not just cutting it out from me. Instead of motivating me, or instead of giving me more progress, it was suddenly giving me more guilt and resentment for not being able to hit that goal. Many things could have contributed to this, and in many different people and situations. One thing to keep in mind is to be aware of when this happens to you, and to know what to do, how to get back on that hobby routine, or at least get back to painting again. So one day, I just picked up a random project, a random paintbrush. I didn't paint this set the way I normally do. I didn't come up with a full plan of how to get it done. I didn't even have an idea in my mind on how it would look. All I knew is I was building, painting, hobbying, and creating things with my hands, which is the one thing I enjoyed most about this hobby. I enjoyed this terrain set. I was just literally putting on paint after paint, haphazardly, not caring if it was neat, not caring if the coverage is well. And because the terrain piece looked beautiful, unevenly painted, it added more character to it. The unprocessed process of the paint job made it even look more effective as a ruined figure. And that gave me joy, that gave me reward, that made me see that what I was doing, regardless of any plan, was still making beautiful things with my hands. It was the counterproductive way to get me back into that productive habit. Of course, I don't see this project as something that will always give you positive results, but I chose a project that I knew I wouldn't care if I didn't paint as well on it as I did with my other miniatures, where I relieved myself of the pressure to do well and only focus on just building and painting. This counterproductive project that I reserved for myself allowed me to remind myself that I can do beautiful things, I do love painting, and that the next project I'm reinvigorated with the energy to paint with much gusto than I used to. As dramatic as this sounds, I experienced this for only maybe a good quarter of the year. But in that quarter of the year, I wasn't painting as much, but I enjoyed it just as much as I always used to. There are a lot of people who are lucky out there who I know always constantly enjoy the hobby, but there's also a number of people that I know who fall out of the hobby, and this video might remind them that they're just out of the hobby because they're just burnt out. Maybe you or they might need a refresher on why you love the hobby. And sometimes, when you catch yourself in a rut, don't blame yourself for it. Don't think that you've fallen out of the hobby and quit. Sometimes what you need is actually a change in your schedule. Maybe change the way you paint. Maybe change the way you think about the hobby. But remember that you're in the hobby for a reason. To collect, to build, or to play. When we get lost in the process of churning out our backlog, we often forget these things, and it's what leads us to a place where we forget about our love for the hobby. So I hope this short video gives you that sign that you're not falling out of the hobby. You just need a little shake you up to remind yourself of why you love the hobby. If you find yourself not painting as much, if you find yourself with a hobby friend who's not painting as he or she would like to, send this video to them. Maybe if you're a gamer, why not just play a game with unpainted minis? If you're a collector, why not just build and display your models without painting them and just see that you've grown your collection? Whatever reason it is you're in the hobby, make sure you're doing that. Don't allow yourself for social media, other people, and even this vlog and the progress of others hinder the way you see your hobby. Remember that hobbying happy is time well spent. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that short little project. And while I do believe hobbying every day does keep the sprues away, I also believe in breaks. Okay, so basically, I messed up my own tagline. I don't really have a way to figure out a new tagline instead of hobby every day to keep the sprues away. But if you think of something, let me know. I do want to advocate progress, but I do want to advocate progress in a way that keeps you happy. keeps you in the hobby, reminds you of what you love about the hobby. I wish you guys the best of luck and a happy new year for this 2023.